Looked
Gonna
at
watch
and said, no
this with you
thanks.
guys.
And he just became.
It's Ice Age Farmer. Fucking YouTube ScrewTube took down his, I guess his original account channel, Ice
My
Age
friends,
Farmer,
welcome.
and so
You perhaps-
he's got a backup channel called Unshadowed. In parentheses, it says Ice Age Farmer. So we're gonna take a look at this. It's no fuel, no food, farm shutting down worldwide. This is very important. Warning, Will Robinson. Warning, warning. You like food? You like gas? I know. Whenever I make a video about food shortages, things like that and I put on BitChute, it gets hardly any traction, like 98 or some shit. Like last night's video that I posted about that black woman talking about the problem with the black community, and in reference to Carmelo, which is a stupid name, made up name, Anthony's verdict, 98 views on that. It's absolutely utterly insane. So that wasn't important, I guess, to the bit shooters, and probably the food's not going to be important. A lack of food, that they're orchestrating a food shortage, I guess that's not important either. Hello, wake up, listen to this. Just because it's not happening here, like it's happening there, doesn't mean they don't want it to happen here.
Moscow and other parts of Russia have started limiting purchases of fuel and diesel at the stations. Now, this is an implementation, of course, of the International Energy Association's recommendations that everyone on Earth should be subject to fuel restrictions. In this case, though, in Russia, where they actually produce plenty of oil themselves,
I think some Canadian.
this is a function of the drone strikes that Ukraine has recently committed against one of their refineries. So, more important here, and I think less discussed out in the news, is the fact that farmers in East Russia are sounding the alarm right now that they are not able to get fuel at all. And so we'll find out why as we read through this piece here from novaya-gazeta.ru. A silent panic is already underway, and farmers are preparing for the closure of agriculture in the Irkutsk region due to a fuel shortage. Now, my friends, I believe this is a canary in the coal mine of the food systems around the world that feed everybody on a daily basis, right? So here are the farmers saying, we're stopping. And we'll read, farmers in the Irkutsk region are complaining about a shortage of diesel fuel. Instead of wholesale fuel supplies, farmers are offered to refuel at the regular gas stations. However, that doesn't work because the large equipment that they need to get fuel for can't even be driven into those normal pumps. Plus, that would cause a shortage of gas at the gas stations. So that idea is a non-starter. In fact, the pilot plant in the Osolsky district stopped the sowing campaign due to a fuel shortage. That means sowing seed. They stopped planting crops because they can't get the gas to run the machines to get those crops in the ground. Right? So this echoes what we heard in April about Australia not having enough diesel for their farmers, especially in West Australia, to be able to get the winter wheat crop out of the ground. And it's a problem. This is a real problem. All attempts to reach an agreement with suppliers are met with one of two answers. Either they don't have the fuel at all, or they've been tasked with supplying it to the west of Russia. Now, so this is a theme that we've seen certainly in history, right? If you've been paying attention to the Great Chinese Famine, following the Great Leap Forward, where technocrats tried to centralize control over the food supply and tell farmers what to do, which was catastrophic and led to the deaths of tens of millions of people due to starvation. What happened there was as the famine began and food shortages were beginning, the food was routed from rural areas of China to the big cities to just keep the appearance of everything going on. And they don't want the cities to riot, so they took the food from the rural areas. That's much what we're already seeing done here, and I expect we'll see more of this, whether it's fuel or food, around the world as shortages get more acute. But that's exactly what this gentleman is saying, is like all of our suppliers are sending their fuel west towards Moscow, where even there they're having the purchase limits.
They're doing this on purpose. You already know
exactly
that.
how much of a problem this is. And then here's the choice quote. If we don't choose limits now, then there will be no feed for animals. There will be no grain for anything.
Rationing.
We need to prepare for the complete closure of all agriculture in the Irkutsk region.
Yeah, but you'll eat the bugs, right?
There's already a quiet panic going on, and at least 25 regions of Russia are already facing fuel shortages. Now again,
fucking commercial.
Now again, Russia is the number one, sometimes the number two, but it's a major exporter of grains around the world. Not all of that is grown in the eastern territories, although more is more recently. But this is nonetheless a harbinger. If Russia is having problems with their agriculture, then that is one of the top exporters of grains and other crops. That means
if Russia's having problems growing the very basics of things such as food, I mean, oh my God, the rest of the world, this could happen to the rest of the world. Meanwhile, in science, AI, robots everywhere, they could do all stuff. They could do stem cell. They could 6G's coming, and all the implantable things that go with that. The Internet of Bodies. They claim they went to Mars, as if. They claim they went to the moon, as if. We know they didn't, but they're claiming all these big feats, all these things that they could do. But oh my God, we just can't figure out how to make an abundance of food all of a sudden. Fact that noise. You know this is bullshit. Oh no, we don't know how to keep the machines going with fuel and gas and diesel and all this. Oh no, what are we gonna do? Fact that noise. Done this bullshit on purpose, man. Never forget their agenda. All right, it's depopulation. And anyone they want us to have to be left alive, you be in a 15-minute stack 'em and pack 'em open air prison that they call 15-minute cities. You'll be eating the bugs, lab printed meat. Yes, you will. You'll own nothing. You'll be happy. You'll be angry. Which is it, Clown Slob, formerly of the WEF? This makes my blood boil. I don't know how the hell this doesn't piss you off. They're fucking with us over. Like the last 100 years, I guess they've finagled their way or managed to get a bulk of the population to forget how to farm, not to farm, moving in cities, and just forget how to survive and grow your own food, and just not even know how to do that anymore. Just a lost art, so to speak. And be reliant on them. Be reliant on the big box grocery stores. This so-called fragile supply system that all it takes is one kink in the chain and empty shelves and all this shit. As they poison us, right? In the food, the air, the water. It's crazy. You gotta buy a water. You gotta do your research and get a really good water filter in order to filter out all the shit that they put into our crap to tap drinking water. It's unbelievable. You got to read your labels, and then they put in words in there you can't pronounce because they're fracking. A lot of it's fracking chemicals in the food. Meanwhile, over in Europe, their food is what ours used to be. Maybe 3 or 4 words in it. It's not a fracking essay of ingredients. This is ridiculous. Where we're at. I wish people would wake up.
There's that much less of a buffer if the rest of the world were to also have problems.
Yeah, we're burning through our reserves.
Some of those problems in the U.S., as we've covered. That's one of the record lowest plantings of wheat, and it's been a very plagued harvest so far with the drought and so forth. Plus, again, the bottom line here being across the world, this energy shortage has not yet been realized. It hasn't been felt. Because the IEA, the International Energy Association, explicitly prescribed everyone out there, all countries, release your reserves now, kick the can. Do not let people feel the pain. Hide
We're feeling it. The gas yesterday hit 409, then today it went down to 383, but we're still feeling it because when Trump first took office, it was like it was as low as 235, 240. Now, when he first took office in 2016, it went from Obama's 280 something a gallon to in my neck of the woods $1.79. And if you use your Kroger points, we were getting it for $1.40 a gallon. All right, I was like, what year are we in? Is this 1998? What year are we in? But when Trump first took office, it was $2.40. But when you decide to go to war with Iran and close the Strait of Hormuz, well, the price of oil jumps, or so we're told. That's the reason. Meanwhile, I saw an article today saying that the price for a barrel of oil went down below $80. But yet the gas is still pushing $4. So go figure that one out. This is ridiculous. Man.
From the market. Do not allow actual price discovery the impact of the destruction of the supply that's coming out of the Strait of Hormuz has not yet been perceived because we've been running off the buffer. As you can see, the SPR has been going lower and lower, and this is true around the world. We've been eating through these reserves, these buffers, and unfortunately that means we're going to have a harder landing because the market hasn't had a chance to actually have real price discovery, which means there's been no demand destruction, which means we've just been burning at the same rate as always along through basically through the battery, right, the stored oil that we had on hand. Once that runs out, and of course, as I've covered, we saw CNN mentioning a few days ago that some of the major SPR facilities in the U.S. are running at tank bottoms right now, then we actually have the real problems. So if we just, hypothetically imagine that as we scroll forward here in time, and these fuel shortages cause indeed problems for agriculture in the U.S. and in other major exporters, then it's very clear now how this energy situation becomes a food crisis. The food crisis, frankly, they've been planning for and wanting so that they could roll forward their rest of their technocratic agenda. And it's just all as plain as day right now. And that's why I say I think this, when you've got farmers in Russia already saying, hey, we're not even able to plant crops right now. Like, I don't know what you think we're going to eat.
Another fucking commercial, eh? If you're gonna show commercials, show me a State Farm commercial where they're doing no. Show me that one.
71.
That Bon Jovi song.
I'd be at risk for shingles.
Have you seen that one?
Because of my active lifestyle.
This is a real situation that is already happening. There's no longer a need to speculate or to look at the agenda plans or any of the prediction is no longer necessary. It's happening now. And so I'll leave it there. I don't think there's much else to say other than when you've got farmers saying, hey, we don't have fuel, we cannot plant crops. And when you see the rest of the world burning rapidly through because they haven't been allowed to realize the scope of the energy crisis yet, once those reserves have been burned through, we're all going to hit a wall real hard. And what happens to trucking and what happens to agriculture around the world remains to be seen, but it can't look much different than what the Russian farmers are already telling us, which is, dude, we can't grow food. I don't know what you think we're going to do when we don't have fuel for our farms. So I think that's really, we're going to keep it with a short message tonight. I would encourage you to be spending a lot of your efforts. Pray on it, see what you get back, but now would be an excellent time and perhaps a last opportunity to be growing, certainly, everything that you can, growing your garden, extending it, adding animals that you had thought about maybe adding in the future. Get them now, right? And start breeding them so you have them for your neighbors. And then certainly be stocking up because these shortages are an inevitable result of the disastrous policies that have been enacted by those folks who are leading the world right now. And that's where they want to take us. That's where they've told us we'll be going. And they've told us the prescribed solutions that they have in mind, namely
they got like 3 years to get for that
crops and AI-enabled farming and precision tools, and taking all of the decision-making away from the farmers, saddling them with so much debt that they will be forced into compliance with the recommendations of the AI machine. This is the moment where humanity is either going to walk away from our ability to feed ourselves fundamentally as a species and give that over to the machines, or you and I and many of us like us are going to start growing our own food
and take
that back and preserve that ability. So leave it there. Please do share this. I think we're getting down to the wire now. We see the reserves getting.
What are you gonna do when you? They're already starting. Remember the voluntary? I covered that in Fast Read Headlines like several years ago. Remember in certain places, I don't know if it was the UK, it was somewhere. I can't remember where, but it was a trial. It was like a voluntary program. Like if you have chickens in your backyard and maybe goats, they said, well, or I think it was even produce. So if you're growing vegetables and fruit, it's voluntary that this certain town was like you could just let them know how many chickens you have, how many goats you have, what are you growing. Just let them know. It was voluntary. But that's like them requesting for you to suffocate yourself to walk into a grocery store in 2020, and then they required it. Remember that? So it was voluntary, like a pilot program for residents to volunteer what they were growing, volunteer information on what animals they had on their property. But then they're going to make it mandatory, keep tabs of you, and or even prevent you from growing anything. So yeah, grow your own food. Grow your own food. Yeah, okay, big thumbs up. But not everybody can do that. I don't know why they keep saying that. It's like it feels like it's almost we're past that. And do you have a green thumb? There are people that don't. There are people that no matter what they do, it doesn't work out. So what do? You know what I mean? It's like we were set up to fail, but it doesn't have to be that way. My thing is, yeah, okay, grow your own food. Big thumbs up if you can. How about an exorcism of all these fucking demons? How about taking a hijacked world back? Huh? How about that? Huh? It's ridiculous where we're at. So just listen to what he said. He covered some really important information. What's happening over there? They want it to happen everywhere. They want to have a big famine. They want to get rid of 95% of us. They want the population down to 500 million, Georgia Guidestones style. Don't forget that. And they're working on it as hard as they can. That's what I got for you. Don't be a troll out there.